what happens. But yeah, let's shift gears to our next guest. He is someone who we're very excited to talk to here. He is finishing out our Resistance broadcast cover for here on POV, and he's looking to get drafted upcoming on Friday. And that is Mr. James Baney is joining us.
Hello, how's it going, guys?
Hello.
Good. Welcome to POV. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little different. I'm already thrown because I, for some reason, misplaced my AirPods, and I haven't worn like headphones in probably like 2 years. And I'm like, oh my God.
The same thing.
If you were here in the beginning, that's literally my AirPods. I put them in today, went boop, boop, boop. I'm like, the hell are these things? Yeah. I'm literally like any noise. I'm like, hello?
Yeah. Even just now, I'm like sitting there like, this won't be that bad. And I'm like, oh, I hear myself. This is weird. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so obviously we know that you're part of the Resistance broadcast crew. You podcast Star Wars twice a week, Star Wars Newsnet, and you've been mentioned multiple times, not just on this channel, but you've been on a bunch of shows so far the last couple weeks. But for those who may not know you or the channel or anything, your connection to Schmoedown and everything, because I know that you, out of the three of you, have the longest history with Schmoedown as well. Can you explain a little bit about yourself and everything like that to the chat?
Yeah, so you were talking about Resistance Broadcast. It's a podcast that we do that initially obviously started just as the regular podcast thing. We were doing audio for a very long time. And I just thought, hey, let's eventually move into throwing it up on YouTube, just the audio with pictures and stuff. And then it just kind of rolled into eventually us doing video. And now I personally kind of think of us as a YouTube thing, but I think there's still like a massive audience. I think we get more listeners still that just do the audio. So, but yeah, we talk Star Wars twice a week. That's our regular schedule. Mondays, we cover all the news that happened last week. And then on Thursdays, we usually will do something more like a discussion about like, something maybe that's going on within the galaxy or whatever. But yeah, we'll do, I don't know, random stuff here and there. And like the Mando fan show, obviously when Mando's around, we'll do live events and we'll discuss the show and we bring on guests and, it's a good time. And we've been doing that for a long time. As far as the Schmoedown stuff, yeah, I've been a fan of like AMC movie talk and it eventually turned into this and eventually turned into that. And I've been with it for a very long time, paying attention. There was actually a point where they were like my number one thing. Like I never missed an episode ever of this stuff. So I saw Christian Harloff and I had no clue who he was, but I watched him all the way, until he started this whole thing with the Schmoedown. And I was like, dude, this is cool. I get this 100%. And then, right around the time that it started blowing up, our stuff was taking more of a precedence too. So I did kind of step away from it, paying attention as much. And it was just kind of like one of those things, like when it's not the case, because I didn't know anybody personally, but like when you're friends with someone in college and you're like, oh man, you can like check their Facebook and be like, dude, they're doing crazy stuff. That's good for them, So it's really cool right now that we had this connection with Christian and he was like, hey, you guys should maybe put your name in to be part of this, because I think we're wanting to do more with Star Wars and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to participate. Because in my back of my head, you know how it always is. It's like that weird fantasy where like maybe one day I'll be on that show. Yeah, but I mean, it's cool. I'd love to participate. It has always been something that I've looked up to as far as like something of value that they created that just kind of didn't exist before. And I admire that. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's really cool because I found AMC before Christian was ever involved as well. And I followed them through the ranks too. So I feel very similar on the viewpoint on this. It's really cool.
Yeah. I remember like finding that show and being like, oh, this is cool. It's like a YouTube show that talks movies. And they brought on John Schnepp just because he was the only person they knew who knew anything about Guardians of the Galaxy, and they were bringing him in like over like a Skype type thing. Yeah. He wasn't even on the show. They're like in a closet with the curtains up and stuff. And I'm like, this is cool. And like I said, it was like one of those things like you watch it turn into what it was, you know, and you're like, they have a studio, and obviously all these people are watching the show every week. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, it's so cool to watch things happen.
Yeah, it was very much like the early beginnings of what YouTube kind of is for movies now. Like Movie Talk was one of the very first things that really took off, and everyone's like, "Oh, that could really work." And now everyone's doing it now, and they're kind of that was the very beginning of it.
No, it's absolutely crazy because I literally remember they were like, "We're working on something where we can talk about movies that have already come out." And I remember thinking, that's impossible. You can't do that without spoiling a movie. And they did this thing, and they're like, we're calling it like a spoiler review. And you would watch it after you went and saw the movie. Yeah. And I was like, that's such a crazy idea.
Now that's like half of YouTube.
I know. It's so common now that it's crazy to think that there was a time when that didn't exist.
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't even that long ago. It was like under 10 years ago, which is crazy because it feels like it's been around for so long. All right, Molly, I'll shoot it to you first. You got a question for James?
Yeah. First of all, hi, James.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. Can confirm their show is amazing. Everyone needs to check it out.
Yes. I listened to this episode, so
thank you.
And yes, the hashtag make Solo 2 happen. Spread it around.
That's right. We're doing that.
Oh, Brian.
That was
there
amazing.
it is.
Yes.
There
oh, Molly, nice.
Yeah.
I'm so psyched that you guys are jumping into the Schmoedown. Me and Alex have had so much fun in the Star Wars League, and so excited to see all the new faces popping in. Is there a particular movie in the franchise or a wheel slice? Like I think John said quotes for his that he thinks he would be really good at. What do you think you would really just destroy in? Is there a particular movie that you think? Okay, I got this.
Yeah, you know, I have talked a little bit about my history before. If anybody doesn't know, I've always been a lifelong Star Wars fan, but very loosely. It wasn't until Disney bought it and kind of reset the canon, and they were saying, hey, those billions of hours of books that you're probably never going to read, like, take a breath. We're kind of starting over. That stuff still exists. It's fine if you want to get into it, but just know that it won't be important anymore. To the degree of like, you're not going to not understand what's going on. Like that was big for me. And so I think like right around that Disney acquisition is when I was like, dude, I could do Star Wars. Like now is the time to get into it and not ever feel like I'm behind or I just have like 50 books that I could never read, you know? And so to me, right there, right at the beginning was like, it was probably like Force Awakens and Rogue One probably are the two movies that I felt like I was the most into, like, got to get the visual dictionary, read everything about it, you know? And then Rogue One, probably, I think the longer it goes, man, I start to think like that really is like one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I think there's just something inherently that clicks where it's like, I love all Star Wars. Obviously, I devote a lot and think about it a lot, but I think there's something that just naturally feels so right to me that I think it sticks in my brain a little bit more. Rogue One specifically. Yeah.
Nice. I also love Rogue One to death. It's just, there's something about it that has that perfect like wow factor, and the way that it leads directly into A New Hope, it just it knocked my socks off when I saw it, and I just love it even more every time I watch it. So
it made you care about people that you knew were going to die.
Exactly. It was like you know.
Yeah, you knew right away these people aren't alive, and we cared about them every second.
yeah. Most, if not all of them, are not going to make it. But
yeah, and it was also oddly like bigger than that too, because it had all these things against it. Like, you know, are we going to care about a movie that doesn't have Luke or Han in it, you know? Like, are we going to care about a movie that isn't, I mean, I know Vader was in it, but it wasn't like a Star Wars movie, you know? And everybody was like, oh, I'm not sure about this. And I think it proved that Star Wars can exist outside of the Skywalker saga. And in an odd way, like, I think that movie did so well that it was potentially led to like why people were started to become disappointed in the sequels. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, Star Wars is back, Force Awakens, cool. But obviously that's, you know, what it is. And then they see Rogue One and they go, oh, but we don't have to have this. Okay. All right. Well, let's see where the sequel trilogy goes from here on. And then it's like, you know, some people like start to have issues with it. And it's like, what? Forget that. That's not important anymore. And now we're even more so like built into the world where, yeah, let's just do Rogue Ones and Solos and Mandalorians and stuff like that. I think, I don't know. It's a personal opinion, and I know other people will go against me, but I almost feel like the sheen of the big, massive Star Wars movie might be over as they move into TV and stuff. And I think just more regular, like Marvel style movies, like Marvel can still do an Avengers movie, but they have regular movies that come out that are just like, here's another one. And personally, I want to see that in Star Wars. I want to see a lot of content.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of people, Rogue One especially, that is a heist movie. You could be just not a Star Wars fan at all and probably still enjoy Rogue One just as a standalone movie. Absolutely. So that makes a lot of sense.
It's a war movie set in Star Wars, which like that it's very unique because I feel like you kind of just follow your usual, all right, here's a story of a Skywalker, and then you have this where it's like, there's a war going on right now, and this is what's happening, and you're like, oh crap, this is kind of cool. The other stuff is going on while the Skywalkers are off doing their stuff.
Yeah,
doing whatever.
Yeah. Every Star Wars movie since the original has been almost like you have to know what happened in all the other movies. It's important that you kind of connect everything, even the prequels, you know, like you'd think that would be like a reset, but it kind of wasn't. It's like, because you're not going to enjoy that film as much as you would if you didn't know who Anakin was, you know, if you don't come into that and be like, that's Obi-Wan, that's Anakin, that's Yoda. I'm interested for those reasons. So Rogue One, again, it hasn't been since the original that I think a movie has kind of just been like, we're going to wipe the slate clean. None of that stuff is important. You just need to know maybe what the Death Star is and how terrible that is. Or maybe you don't even need to know that because we show you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point.
And it's funny because, like you said, I immediately think of my sister when I was trying to explain to her Rogue One, and I just literally said, the movie's about the little plan she puts in R2-D2, and she goes, oh, okay. Like, that's literally like all you need to know going into that. She's like, oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, read these like 2 lines from the crawl, and then you're good. Like that's the movie.
Yep.
So yeah.
Do you think, real quick, do you think we will get a similar movie but about the Bothans?
I mean,
do you think do you want?
I feel like I saw something specifically with you guys talking about how suspiciously quiet they've been about the Bothans. But I agree with that. But I kind of feel there's no way they would do it because it would feel like Rogue 2. Like it would it would just be the same movie again or something similar. I wouldn't be surprised though if another movie carried over or potentially like crossed over in the same kind of area maybe or something. We see that on screen or in a TV show or something. Because I think that you're right. Like when people talked about Rogue One, they were like, why didn't that have any Bothans in it? For some reason, that line sticks out so much. And I think people want to see that scenario happen. They want to see how many died.
We just want to see a Bothan, period. I mean, I do. But that's fine. They can keep their secrets for now. Have a big Bothan reveal at some point. Yeah.
You're like, hey, Star Wars, Bothans. They're like, what did you say? Oh, here's High Republic.
Yeah. And then it's just like a keychain. I'm like, oh, what's over here?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Alex with Rogue, the Rogue Squadron movie. He's like, oh, okay.
Anything pilots, he's like, what?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I love the Star Wars Spock. Let's get back to a little bit of Schmoedown here.
Yeah, what are we here to talk about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could talk Star Wars all day, but let's get back into the nitty-gritty of this. Brian, you're up next here. Do you have a question that you would like to ask James?
Yeah, so we know obviously each faction has a manager. You don't have to answer specifically who you think you would work well with manager-wise, but is there something that you would like or looking for in a manager to kind of like help guide you or anything like that if you were to get selected on a faction?
Oh, I mean that's a thing that just comes down to life. Like, what do you expect from a teacher? Like, I guess I don't know specifics like what I'm looking for, but I know that when you're with somebody and they're helping you and you can see the progress that you're making, that is when you know that something's clicking. Like, even if this person doesn't necessarily know the same information, but they know what's going to work to help, make it stick, or they're going to help come up with things like this is kind of a dumb thing, but like a manager that's going to maybe remind you that you have, a JTE rule or something like that, that you're like, oh yeah, that's right. And it's like,
not dumb. That's
it's not dumb at all.
That's exactly what I needed from a manager, is to remind me like, hey, you have all these other options. Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
Yeah. I think that's what it really comes down to, is like, you don't know, you don't have the ability to kind of know what you're going to need until you're in the match and you potentially like look at the match you just played and see the tape. Like, it's interesting for me because this would be hopefully, our first Schmoedown. I've never done it, never sat in it, never really even talked to anybody about the event, like right when they get off stage. Like, what was that like? To me, it's so different. It's exciting, but it also has this potential to be something intimidating that I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to fail. Like, I don't know, like what is Luke's uncle name? And you're like, like, and it's like, I think like it's going to be figuring out where my failures are just when you're immediately asked the question and stuff like that. And I think a good manager is going to recognize that probably quicker than I would, and be like, this is where you're weak. Fix this. And I'm like, okay, man, I would have went and studied, I don't know, stuff on Canto Bite, like alien names or something. And it's like, you don't need that. You need quotes or something. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, and that's fair, because that's the first time that I've heard a rookie answer that kind of question like that. So it's not so much about, what you need, but it's more so what the manager can give you.
Yeah.
Look at that. So
I'll tell you this, I'm bad, like in the moment, even when I'm watching the show, I'm bad at in the moment of realizing how close maybe somebody is to elimination. Like, sometimes randomly it's like, oh, the person got the question wrong, they're like, and your winner, and I'm like, wait a second, did he just get TKO'd? Like, like, oh shoot. So I think like having a better understanding of where you're at, and when you're 10 points down in the first round, that's not good, but it doesn't mean as much until you get into like the later rounds and the points are worth more and stuff like that. And I think there's kind of some level of trying to figure out how that math works that could really benefit confidence. You're like, oh shoot, I'm missing all these. It's like, but these ones don't matter as much. Don't freak out.
Yeah. That's very fair.
Okay, so they're calling for this question in the chat, and I will ask it. And so this is a scenario question posted by Kylie here, and she had asked, I'll do the hard Jill question. So if you shave / wax your full head, beard, eyebrows, and even your eyelashes, you get a title shot against Alex Damon. Do you take it and make the sacrifice?
So I have to do all those things and then I get the title shot?
Yeah.
how about this? How about no? I save all my hair, and then I just beat everybody and get to Alex and take it anyway.
There you go.
I like it. I like it. Kylie,
Yeah,
Kylie, it's great.
you gotta work your way there. I like it.
Earn it a little more.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be standing there with a belt and the bald head, and everybody's like, "You didn't earn that."
They're like, oh.
All right, I'll shift and I'll ask one of Jill's scenario questions since she's not here. So let's say you're playing someone. It could be just someone who's played before or an incoming rookie, and you end for the first round with a lead. Either it's 1 point, 3 points, whatever it may be. So you get a chance at spinning the wheel first. Do you defer or do you spin the wheel first?
I think I spin the wheel first. Although I feel like there's a technique to letting people go second. Like I think like what I've seen is it seems like better players generally let the other person go first. But in my own head, I haven't figured out why. And again, going back to the manager thing, like maybe that's something that they can kind of explain, like here's why or here's the strategy. Maybe this benefits you. For me personally, just going in just the way I am, I would rather not know what I'm up against and just feel like this is just me. No pressure. They're just asking me questions. And where I come out with, I'd rather see my opponent try to overcome what I just did rather than me feeling like I've got, 100 steps to beat him kind of thing.
That's totally fair. I mean, I've heard people explain their reasoning behind spinning first or second. And honestly, like in Star Wars, I think it really comes down to who you're playing and like whether or not you're trying to play some mind games with that person. But ultimately with Star Wars, like we've been saying, it just comes down to can you answer everything right? Who has the brain fart first?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and just so you know, Lacey decided to defer, and John decided to go first and bury his opponent.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, you broke the tie. You broke the tie.
Nice. All right. I'll take that.
All right, Brian, you got something else you want to ask?
Yeah. So, Jesus, this freaking cord. God, AirPods. I know. I literally just stepped on it and yanked my head.
I need Salacious B or R2 to get me out of this.
Seriously. Yeah.
Tiny saw.
So it doesn't have to be a Star Wars player, but is there a certain player that you think like, oh, I'd really like to kind of like learn how they play, their approach, or just any like knowledge or tips from them, like if they were on your team? Does not have to be Star Wars.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I've been friends with Roka for a while, and I always think that, as cool of a dude as he is, like, I think he would be someone that could really like kind of show the ropes a little bit, and say like, hey, here's how it goes. Here's how you want to do it. Like, I think he would be kind of a personal, good coach. Cause I know that, he excels, number one, in the matches, but he excels at the personality as well. And he obviously knows all the people that are involved in the creation and has been with it for so long that I think he gets it on all accounts. He doesn't just stick to one thing and just do that really well. He's kind of good at everything. For Star Wars though, just because I heard this question to Gold Leader too, and I was thinking, oh, I don't know. Off the top of my head, the first thing I thought was Scrimshaw, because I think there's something interesting about his approach, which is this is all a joke, right? Like, he's like, he can answer the question so well, but he's so oddly different from everybody else that he will answer with humility, and he will answer with humor, and he will get in someone's face and just play it off, like it's a really silly and stupid. And I don't know, it's just so different from everybody else that I would be interested to see like what his approach is to feeling just relaxed about the whole thing. How does he get out of the pressure of it all, and just manage to be there and be like, as my high school teacher once told me, and then like holds up the answer and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, like how do you have enough time to come up with the answer and the witty response as well?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I have a joke prepared along with your 15 seconds you get to pull this information.
Scrimshaw is a literal Jedi, and he's first of all, he's a treasure.
Mhm.
And also, if he were to beat you, even if he were to KO someone in Star Wars, I feel like afterwards he'd be like, "That was really fun.
Yeah,
Like you did really well." And
he
you'd be
seems
like,
like a bring it in kind of guy.
"Yeah, bring it in. We're all good. This was fun. Let's go. Get a drink somewhere. Assuming the pandemic is over."
Yeah, that's true.
That's another thing.
All right, before we get to our final question, Molly, do you have anything else you would like to ask James?
I mean, we didn't we have Lacey and John both do promos?
We did.
I kind of feel like okay, all right.
They did it against each other, and
Mhm.
so Lacey picked John when we simply asked Lacey, Jill tortured Lacey by saying, "Hey, if there's a Star Wars competitor and she had said you're playing John in your first match, you need to cut a promo." And then John followed it up. So if you want to do one against one of them,
Yeah.
Or both.
welcome to.
Or a promo to just set yourself apart from them.
Yeah.
To set myself apart from them. Gosh, I don't know.
It's so hard.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I mean, look, we're here to win, right? This is not us just doing a regular show. We're not just here to talk about Star Wars or to just give our opinions on Star Wars. It's about knowing Star Wars. And I mean, between the three of us, I mean, really, honestly, I think they know in their heart to hearts, like, I have the information. John can talk about the behind the scenes stuff. Lacey can talk about all aspects of fandom and social media and stuff like that and how it all connects and stuff and just her love of Star Wars. But I'm the one that gets the lore. I'm the one that understands the characters. I'm the one that knows everything about all the details and stuff. And given the opportunity to go up against John or Lacey, I think they know right away that they're probably going to lose that one.
Yay.
I like it.
Love it.
I like how people are literally in the chat going, "Get the Darksaber and cut them down." Like it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. No. Also, John and Lacey, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and finish off with our typical POV question. I'm sure you heard it in the background, but we're all movie people here. It brings us together. And so when movie theaters are open and we're going to see films, do you have a favorite movie snack and a favorite candy that you like to choose?
I it's funny. I think this was about the point where I was like, where the heck are my AirPods? So I was like, why are they talking about popcorn? Now I think I get it. I imagine everybody picks popcorn, right? Pretty much.
A lot.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is when I go, I get a large popcorn and I'll either get a large Coke. Sometimes I kind of don't do it as much anymore. I tend to lean towards the icy and I do the Coke and the blue raspberry mix. That combination. It's kind of funny because I think it's one of those things like I was doing that. And then when I met my wife, like she also did the same thing. So we were just like, all right, so that's a definite every time now. Candy's actually not really like a common thing that I do when I go into the theater, but I definitely like something that takes a little time. Like I feel like a Sour Patch Kids or something's like chew it up and you're done. I think I would probably enjoy like a Gobstopper better. Something like that. Because I think that's something that you can kind of sit with for a little bit and kind of enjoy because it's not really supposed to be the focus of like when I'm eating Reese's, like you want to enjoy a Reese's, And I'm in a movie right now. I want to enjoy the movie. So I'm going to put something in that's just going to be just constant coverage of great taste.
Fair.
Nice.
Wow.
You just want a blanket of flavor during the entire movie.
Yes. I just want to feel numb to sugar.
That's fair. That is very fair.
Oh goodness.
Well, James, it has been an absolute pleasure getting you on the show finally and being able to give you a shot in front of everybody.
And awesome.
Just a few days away until the draft, and we hope that this gave you just the slightest inch ahead of some of the other Star Wars competitors to get you in the league this year. So fun talking with you and getting to know you a little bit better, and we wish the best of luck to you on Friday.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And good luck to me, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
We look forward to it. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens on Friday. So
All right, man. Yeah.
Good luck.
have a good night, James.
See you.
Oh, too many good rookies. Just too many good rookies.
There's a list of 30
Yeah.
and only probably 16. And I don't know how people are going to choose.